All right, hello everyone. I'm Tina Herbert, and you know I'm a candidate for District 1, City of Columbia. And I'm here with my good friend Sabrina, and I'm here with Nick, and we're at Indah Coffee today. And I'm really excited. I've been here several times, but we're back in one of the secret rooms, just so you all know. But you can see the activity in the back. But Nick, thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you for coming.
Tell us a little bit about Indah. How long have you been here? What do you serve?
So, we started Indah actually in North Columbia about 10 years ago. Actually, it was 2010, and then started getting involved with the all local market at Soda City, and actually started roasting coffee about 5 miles up the road, and in 2017 we moved our roastery and cafe operations here. So.
Well, we're glad to have you. Glad to have you. Tell us a little bit about what you offer here.
So we are a roastery retailer. So we roast coffee here, and then we also serve coffee in a cafe setting. And it's a really great place to study. It's a really great place to have events.
Yeah.
And we're kind of a community hub, I guess you would say. So.
And so one of the reasons that we do this is because we're trying to help all of our restaurants, all of our eateries, coffee houses to recover from COVID, because we know that industry took a really hard hit during COVID. Tell us about your COVID experience, and did you have to pivot? Did you have to close down? Tell us your COVID story.
Yes, so we had to do a lot of pivoting last year. Obviously, there was no playbook for any of us on how to handle this, and so I felt like we were sometimes weekly making adjustments and just trying to figure out things, and so there were a lot of difficult things. I mean, it was very challenging as a small business, and there were probably some good things about that as well. Just sometimes when you're forced to change. You get stronger. So, it's I kind of look at it as it's a mixed bag, but we're grateful to have, made it through, and kind of hopefully that's behind us.
Yeah, absolutely. So how many staff do you have here?
When we are fully staffed, we have, I think, 19 employees.
Okay.
So, but we fluctuate,
Are there certain days that you have? Okay, certain days that you fully staffed because of
or more just like depending on the season.
Okay.
Summertime we're a little bit slower. We might run with one or two people less than we would during the school year.
Okay. And then what are your hours?
Monday through Friday we're open 7 to 7, and on Saturday we're open from 8 to 6. And then we're actually getting ready to start in August to open on Sundays from 8 to 2. So,
okay.
So that's actually you're actually the first person to.
Okay.
Y'all are some of the first people to hear that. So.
Yeah, y'all are getting cutting edge news right here dining in the district. All right, so you have. I always try something that the owner suggests, and I like sweet stuff. So what am I trying today?
This is an iced vanilla latte, and it's one of our very popular drinks. And so if you like something that's sweet and you want some caffeine, this is a great
Definitely,
day.
yes.
And then what does Sabrina have?
Sabrina has an iced mocha, and so
Really good.
And I think it's got a little shot of vanilla in there as well. So she's.
It's good.
Now I like this because I'm not a big coffee person, but I don't taste a whole lot of coffee. I taste a lot of sweet. And I like sweet stuff. So, Nick, I know over the years you've also been involved with the city, had some level of involvement with the city of Columbia. Tell me what you think the city is doing well.
We were just talking about with the pandemic. The city of Columbia was very quick to respond. Well before there was any federal help for small businesses, the city was far and away the first to respond, and very grateful for that, because when we're trying to figure out what do we do, how do we handle this crisis, that quick action was really helpful.
That's good.
And I think that is Melissa Lindler in the OBO department. Is that where the help came from? Now, how was that process for you? Did you find that the staff was helpful, or sometimes they say dealing with the city, the paperwork can be cumbersome. No, I mean we understand with governmental entities, but
Sure.
how was that process? Because I do realize that when COVID hit, like people didn't have time for a lot of
Right.
frustration and
Right.
time.
I think when you're dealing with those kind of things, there needs to be a measure of that. It was somewhat cumbersome, but compared to some of the other programs, it was probably more streamlined than some of the others. So that was really helpful. Seeing growth in greenway space. I think Columbia has the potential, with 90 miles of riverfront here in the Midlands, to be one of the top, premier, greenway systems in the entire country. And so, I'd like to see it moving a lot faster, but I think that's very directly correlated with people moving to the city, becoming the kind of city that people want to live in, and that has greenways have single-handedly changed my entire perception of the city. So,
Wow.
so I want to see a lot more of it, but
We're making some progress.
Yes.
Making some
Sure.
progress. So now, just to be fair, because we try and get a fair perspective. What do you think the city could be doing better?
Yeah. It can be. I personally had some, experienced a lot of red tape and bureaucracy when it comes to opening a business.
Okay.
It was a lot harder than it should have been.
Now, do you think that was because of the type of business that you have, or do you think that's across the board?
I talk to small business owners all the time, and I find it a pretty common experience.
And so, what is the impact to you as a business owner when you have those types of issues?
Well, time is money. So if
That's true.
permits are really slow to be issued, instead of taking 30 or 40 days, if it takes 95 days, which was our experience, we had a construction crew that was ready to start, and then we had to keep pushing it back, and that's really expensive when I've already quit a full-time job to do this, and then I've got 2 months that I wasn't counting on without income.
Nothing up and up.
Right.
Okay. And I think that that is a common thing that we hear with government offices as a whole, but and hopefully we're continuously trying to improve. And of course, that's something I believe in. If you have a process, that's great, but if we find ways that we can make it more efficient, or I remember when we used to do the facade, and I remember one of my staff members saying, well, the policy says, and I was like, and we wrote the policy, so
Right.
let's, once we start hearing from people, let's really go back and assess, do we still need to do 1, 2, 3, or maybe we can change a couple of things. Sometimes we just can't, but just being open to looking through that process and seeing if we need all of those things.
Right.
So it's been a real pleasure today. Oh, I'm always supposed to ask. I keep forgetting. Do you have a question for me? And you don't have to have one, but do you have a question for me?
I am really interested, and I know there are a lot of other entrepreneurs and small businesses that are concerned about the really heavy tax burden in this community, and so I think that's an area that there are a lot of people that are just keenly interested in. Are there ways to maybe take some of the burden off of small businesses,
Right.
so that we can grow and we can be continue to generate more revenue
Right.
and more opportunities for a flourishing city. Because I moved here over 20 years ago.
So where are you
and
originally from?
North Carolina.
Okay.
So, and I call this home now. I mean, this
Right.
is like,
Right.
this is home for
Right.
me. But I just, you know, like, I love this city, and I think there's, I talk about it all the time to people, but on the flip side, you know, like what it could be, the potential here is unbelievable. I mean, the amount of talent, you know, just in so many different levels is unbelievable, and, you know,
I'm gonna take Nick around with
I
me.
know.
so, you know, so in terms of, you know, like, you know, I think we've got to find ways, not make excuses for the way things are, but like, how can we forge ahead and make this a place that business can flourish? I mean, that we can be more competitive with some of our neighboring cities like Greenville and Charleston that have, you know, much greater, lower effective tax rates. So,
Well, and I think my position on that is we have to always be open-minded in assessing where we are and where the potential is. And if there are ways that we feel that we can make some changes, I think we owe it to the citizens to at least explore them, but to explore them fully and see what the, you know, are there any collateral consequences? But I definitely don't believe in status quo. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm very open-minded and I'm a problem solver. So I think the key is going to be in this discussion trying to figure out what we can do and what works and who we can get on board, because you know we have to get everyone on board to see how we can impact that change. But I totally understand that, and I have heard it enough to know. I mean, taxes are real, and we have different burdens here in the city because we're the capital city. But no, my philosophy, my hope is that we would take an open-minded approach to assessing the data and looking at every option, not special options, but looking at every option and seeing what the best option is going to be for us going forward. That would be my quick answer. All right, y'all. It looks like we got caught in a little bit of a storm, so we're gonna go check on everything that's going on. Nick, thank you so much.
of course.
If y'all need some study or some quiet time or it's espresso, I think this is a
Latte?
double espresso in here.
So you have double shot of espresso and 8 ounces of milk in this, you know, or if you would get this hot, it would come with steamed milk. So.
Well, I have to work pretty much all night tonight, and I think this is going to help me stay up. Thank y'all so much for joining us for another Dining in the District. And thanks so much for my producer, Shane Townsend, who's telling us all to smile as we end. We'll see you all next time.